Hello and welcome to our first reflective journal vlog for Aesthetic Creations. Today we're going to be discussing a topic that we think is very interesting. We're going to talk about the music education approaches to music therapy by Orff, Dalcroze, and Kodály. Those are the three that we're going to discuss. So we're going to briefly summarize those philosophies, and then we're going to talk about what makes those philosophies similar and different, and then we're going to discuss some real-world practical applications to each of those philosophies, positive impacts that we think they may be able to have in our lives and the lives of our friends and family, and in addition we're going to talk about how those might connect to our future career paths. So, in terms of just a brief summary, Luke, if you'd like to get started with talking about Orff and some of the basic tenets associated with that, we'll be ready.
Yeah, so Orff was created by Carl Orff with the idea of rhythm being the unifying central force. It's the idea that humans have this power to create. It uses instruments that children can use without making mistakes, or you remove pieces and stuff. And it allows for improvising, but also learning how to do things and feel like you're accomplishing something, and finding rhythm without making those mistakes, and finding that kind of power to create within humans.
Yeah, absolutely. So our next one is Dalcroze by Emile Henri Jacques Dalcroze, who was a conductor in Algiers, North Africa. And the primary word associated with Dalcroze is movement, whereas with Orff it's rhythm. Dalcroze is mostly associated with movement. And Dalcroze had a few different philosophies that were fairly similar to those of Orff. He believed that a good teacher would respect and educate a child holistically, focusing not just on drilling music into their brain per se, but on creativity and self-expression. And then movement was a way to teach pulse and also musical styles and rhythm. He actually referred to his first holistic teaching approach as rhythm gymnastics. He did later change that name to Eurythmics, but we thought it was interesting that the gymnastics element kind of called back to that foundational aspect of movement within his philosophy.
Yeah, so the next one we're talking about is Kodály. Kodály was focused on, he was inspired by Hungarian folk music, and he really was so focused on music and self-expression, and that children should be able to learn their mother tongue, which is music, and believe that children should be able to be exposed to music in schooling at a very young age. Also believe that they should be able to be trained in their musical ear. And he also had hand signs that went along with this method. They're called the solfege element, or the solfege hand signs, created by John Curran. And there's different steps in the Kodály sequence, such as preparing, making conscious, and reinforcing and accessing. And those steps would be used in some therapy situations that we discussed in class, such as cerebral palsy. And overall, the Kodály really wanted to make sure that everyone has the ability to express themselves through music, whether it be different genres or from different areas of the world. Believe that music was important to have throughout your life. So we all summarize just the different elements of each individual, but there are some similarities and differences.
So although all three of them had like their different approaches to music, they all had like many similarities. For example, all three of them believe that everyone had the ability to express themselves through music, despite any like disabilities that may challenge them. All three of them believe that they could make music or feel the rhythm, and they all also believe that everybody should have access to music. For example, with Orff, he would make like instruments for children, and because he believed that they should be able to have access to be able to play music. And for Kodály also would
Yeah, Kodály had a heavy focus on that accessibility as well, as did Dalcroze. That was kind of their big thing. Just to summarize, all three of these music education approaches focused on accessibility for everyone and holistic education. So with that, we'll move into our next question, which is, could any of these approaches have a positive impact for other students, family, friends, coworkers, or acquaintances in your personal life? I think we've discussed a lot of benefits already, but let's make that more specific. So Luke, what do you think?
So yeah, going into a private middle school and high school, you could definitely see how a lot of kids could benefit from certain aspects of these, especially in terms of rhythm and movement. In general, all students should be exposed to music, and I think that's what these three men were talking about and thinking about, and how they all holistically help the human nature and help them in learning. And those are aspects that I think would increase and aid education at all levels, because it allows for someone to feel more human, and it also gives them that creativity and feeling like they can try new things.
Absolutely. So for me, an immediate example that, actually two examples, one in the life of a family member and one for me, but in the life of a family member, it's a pretty specific example. My little cousin was diagnosed with cancer about a year ago today, actually, and he was 6 at the time. He's 7 now, but I have just seen the way that, of course, as it would, cancer has it's posed some very real challenges for his emotional well-being, his mental well-being. So I think that the Dalcroze approach could end up being very helpful for him, to the point that I probably will suggest that to his parents. Dalcroze has a lot of different applications, including things like palliative care, PTSD, even like AIDS and HIV, but a primary focus of it is with emotional disturbances, with withdrawal, with social awkwardness, things like that. And all of those things have been like peripheral results of my cousin's cancer. And so I think that focus on movement and creativity during a really hard time in his life might be very, very helpful. And then I'll actually get into my own personal example later when we get to the professional stuff. So Bailey, how about you?
Yeah, so I come from a musical family, and all of us got exposed to music at a young age, and so I feel like being able to carry that on throughout the generations might help us bond as a family more. I feel like if we stopped that, we wouldn't have things to either bond over, or necessarily our children won't understand the talent they may have, the natural talent they may have in music. We all found out we like music on accident through our grandpa passed away, and we all realized that we have through him we all realized that we have a nature for or drawing to music. Well, yeah, honestly, medicine and music, but we're talking about music, and I don't know, it's just something that we can play a song and all of us feel the same exact way about the song. So I feel like going with Kadai's tactics of letting children be exposed to music can really help them understand and become more of a whole human in general.
So my mom has like nerve damage in her arm, and like she's had that ever since like I was like in elementary school, and she's always like not complaining, but she always talks about how her arm hurts. And I feel like Kadali's approaches could really help her with her arm, because she has talked about how like when she's like working in her garden, like when she like moves her arm or like uses her arm, like it'll like feel better like over time. Like there was one week where like she like had said that the pain had like gone away, and like I thought that was like really interesting, because I thought like the more you would move your arm, the like worse it would hurt, but like she said that it really like took the pain away. So I think Kadali's approaches could really like help take that pain away.
Yeah, for sure. Those are all really good examples. Hopefully we'll be able to put some of those things to use in our own personal lives. So our final question is, from these approaches, can you think of any practical application in your own future work or personal life?
Yeah, so I hope to work in the medical field, and working with patients, this will definitely come in handy as something to look for or even recommend to patients, because you'll see all kinds of people who could benefit from this in the medical field, and it should be something that we all look at, even for us personally, whether we have physical ailments in the future or just for our mental health. These are good things to keep in mind and maybe utilize.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me personally, I have actually seen music therapy work in my own life since I was a young kid. I started playing piano when I was 7, and I've had real bad anxiety since, honestly, about that age. And playing piano has always been a safe space for me. It helps me to get out of my head. That and even just listening to music, I've like personally seen the impacts of this, and so I think this is extremely important. And then in my future work as well, I'm considering going to divinity school when I graduate. And so if I were to eventually become a pastor, I think that this could be incredibly useful because pastoral care does often involve some degree of mental health care and physical health as well. I know we mentioned palliative care with Dalcroze, and I know pastors often have to do that. So using music therapy to help people through those tough times in their life might be really, really useful.
Yeah, I agree. Same. Like I want to go through graduate school, and I find since it's going to be a lot of years of studying, I find that music helps me focus and helps me come up with new ideas or come up with answers. It just gives me that I guess line of vision that I need to like achieve my goals in my career, because I do want to eventually become something greater than what I am right now. Like I eventually want to make a mark in the world of medicine as far as like pharmaceutical sciences, and so knowing that music can help me get there is something that I really should take advantage of. And as far as like my career itself, I know Raphael has a really good idea about that since we have the same majors. I'll let you share.
Wait, which one?
The what was it? What did you say last time?
Was it like the music thing? Like
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so like there's this one show that my family would watch or whatever, called La Rosa de Guadalupe, and it was basically like some religious show. And there's this one episode where these like middle schoolers or whatever would listen to music to get high off of it, and like one of the boys' moms figured out, and she told her son to stop listening to that music because like something bad might happen or whatever, and then like she her son got like a seizure from listening to the music, but like what I'm getting from it now is that like for listening to like when you listen to music, that you could like instead of like giving you a seizure, it could like help with your immune system, so like it could be like an alternative to medicine, because like sometimes medicine you can build a resistance to it, so yeah, like instead of like
Yeah, music really is powerful. We wholeheartedly believe that. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you soon.